We're back. It's game day here at Shark Eye Sports. We're kind of stuck in the bunker this morning. We're riding Hurricane Irma out, so we were unable to get to our studio. So we're in the party pad, and we're getting ready to watch some football. But what I wanted to do, because we are Shark Eye Sports, an algorithm-driven sports investment company. What we basically do is we take a lot of information, sports analytics, coaching probability theories, predictability analysis. We take injuries, we take KPIs, key performance indicators of each skill position player. We take past performance, we take line trends. We do all the things that the normal working person that really enjoys having a little skin in the game doesn't have the time to do. We do that for you. And we're not like these other companies, wanting a subscription every month that's, high dollar and saying we're going to be, win you thousands. What we're going to do is we're going to give you good information that you can take and use to feel comfortable and have some peace of mind when you go to make your investment, your sports investment on whatever franchise you choose for the weekend. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go over, and you can check us out at sharkeyesports.com. You can check us out at Instagram. You can check us out on Twitter. We're always giving free plays out on that. But, I've been doing this for 35 years, and, the algorithm itself was given to me about 10 years ago from a whale. When I talk about a whale, he is the premier guy in Vegas that started handicapping, that started it all. He's phenomenal, and he's well known all around the world. And I can tell you this, when he gave me the information, he said, I give you the building blocks, you put your own dynamics into it. And, last year we had a very successful year, doing almost 76% with the algorithm. And this year we expect to even do better because we got a little more juice in the algorithm. And what this does, it just gives you, again, some information that you can use that if you feel it's worthy to improve the chances of a successful wager in your part. So let's go over the games today. The first one we have here is the Jets at Buffalo, and currently I have, I'm looking at Bookmaker. I use them. They're the first with the line. They're the oldest book, and they're very reliable. I like their lines, and I like their system. So shout out to you, Bookmaker. You do a great job. New York Jets at Buffalo. You've got Buffalo minus 7.5 now. It was almost at 9, and they've dropped it down. So a lot of people are jumping on the Jets. The algorithm says here that the line should be Buffalo minus 9.5. So, and I think that the situation with a 2-point delta there justifies, looking at the Bills here. I also like the over. According to the algorithm, a lot of people think these teams aren't going to score. Right now it's at 42.5. Algorithm says 46. So, you're looking at an over on the New York Jets Buffalo, and Buffalo easily wins this game, probably like 28-10, 28-14, 28-17, somewhere in there. So, cover for Buffalo here. Atlanta and the Bears. Atlanta started out at 7. It's at 6.5 now. And the under is 48 on the game. Atlanta goes in after a terrible defeat in the Super Bowl where they just gave it away. A lot of things are going to, the KPIs on this are pretty close. So, the algorithm saying Atlanta should be minus 2.5, 3 in this game. So that's a 3.5 point. Was a 4-point delta. And what I mean by delta is that Vegas knows that 86 to 90% of the bettors are going to bet on the favorites. So what they do, like with the New England game that you saw in Kansas City, that line should have, we had that line at 4. We took Kansas City plus 9 in that one, and we did a video on that. That line should have been about 3.5, 4. But Vegas knows that everybody's going to bet the favorite, that the public's going to bet it. So what they do is they pad the line. Padding the line increases a better return for them, and it decreases your odds for making a successful play. So what you have to know going in, most of the time on these big games like that, with favorites like your New England's, your Pittsburgh, your Dallas. I think Pittsburgh's at 9 against Cleveland today, we're going to talk about that in a minute. But these are the kind of things that you can look at and that the algorithm will point out. And what the algorithm does is it shows, okay, this is what Vegas line is, but this is what the algorithm line says. And wherever the largest delta is, like with this particular game, Atlanta should be minus 2.5, 3, and they had it at 7. So that's a 4-point delta between the actual line and what the algorithm's giving. So that's a good investment. That's a good play. That's something you might consider doing. So in this particular scenario, I like, according to the algorithm, Chicago plus 6.5 at home. And on the over and under here, I think both teams score, and I think you're looking, probably at like a 31-27 game, somewhere in there. All right, so 58 points, 54 points, somewhere in there. All right, you have Jacksonville at Houston, and this is a big game for Houston. There's a lot of emotion from what went on with the flooding down there. You have some chaos in Jacksonville with Blake Bortles, and we took all this into account, and really this line should be about a minus 7.5 or 8. So I think you can comfortably take Houston here at minus 5 and have a successful play. The over and under is 38, which seems low because both of these teams are going to score. Even though Houston has a great defense, Jacksonville has a lot of talent on offense. Your KPI indicators are very good. So, you're looking at a over 38 on this Jacksonville game, and Houston minus 5 is a great play. Philadelphia at Washington, it's currently a pick'em game. It started out with Washington at minus 2. I think there's some hesitation with Kirk Cousins because he had some struggles in the preseason, and to me, he hasn't really proved himself a top-tier quarterback. On the other side of the ball, you got Carson Wentz, who has really come a long way, really has a strong arm and really good presence in the pocket, can run. I like Philadelphia here. I like their defense a lot more than I like Washington's, and the KPIs indicate that. The algorithm says that on this one, Philadelphia should be minus 4. The over and under on this game is 49.5. Both these teams are going to score. The algorithm says that it should be 54 on the over and under. So you got a nice over here, and you got a nice play with Philadelphia. I think they go in there and, like the algorithm says, they win by 3 or 4 points. All right, Arizona at Detroit. Currently you have Arizona minus 2.5. These teams met the last time, and Arizona won 42-17. Matthew Stafford gets a big contract extension, is now the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. So I think he's going to have an attitude coming out today. This is their first game at home for the season, and they play well at home. They've added some new pieces there. Arizona, to me, I think is getting, like the KPIs say, and when I say KPIs, key performance indicators on each skill position player. Carson Palmer at the end of the season looked like, if you remember, Peyton Manning in the Super Bowl season. I mean, couldn't throw it 20 yards. It just didn't look as sharp and as tough. And the KPIs indicated that. I like Detroit in this position as a home dog. The algorithm says that Detroit should actually be favored by 2.5 instead of Arizona. So you got a nice flip there because Arizona's currently at minus 2.5. You have an over 48.5. I think the algorithm says 51.5. So I think you got a good over on this play. And on the next game you have Oakland and Tennessee. Okay, Oakland is at plus 3. Tennessee is minus 3. This, I believe, opened up at minus 1 Oakland and it switched the other way. I think what people are considering here is Oakland's defense is very shaky, very young linebacking core. You have a very strong Tennessee Titans offensive and defensive line. They picked up Eric Decker. They picked up some good running backs in DeMarco Murray, Henry. So you have a good situation there. Marriotta's really getting into his own. Derek Carr. Both these teams are going to score some points. The thing that this comes down, the algorithm says, is that Tennessee should be minus 4. So I think that the line at 3 is a good line. I think that the over and under on this is 50. So I'm looking at an over on that because Oakland itself has a KPI point total of 30 on average. So you're looking at a good over situation on the Oakland-Tennessee game. Tennessee straight up is a good play or money line, and that's going to be one of the better games today. Baltimore at Cincinnati, always a tough game. Algorithm says that this line is right on point. Cincinnati -3. The Ravens always start slow and the Bengals always start hot. And so I think you have a good play here. A lot of talent. You have Joe Flacco on the other side, which we have a low KPI on right now because he really didn't play a lot during the preseason. They have, Mike Wallace as their best receiver. Okay. Mike Wallace or A.J. Green. That's what it comes down to almost in this game. And then you've got Cincinnati that's got some great running backs. Cincinnati that's got, even with Burfict out, they've got a great defense. I think this is a play for Cincinnati starting out the year. They've got an over and under on this thing of 41. The algorithm says that the over and under on this is 37, so they're looking like at a 20-16 or maybe a 20-14 game on this, and I agree with that. So you got a nice play on Cincinnati and the under on this, on the Baltimore Cincinnati game. All right, then we go to Pittsburgh and Cleveland. Right now you've got Pittsburgh -9.5, and this again through Bookmaker, who creates and does the odds first, comes out with the line first. They're one of the oldest bookmakers in the world. -9.5 is ridiculous. The algorithm says that it should be -3.5, 4. So you've got the largest delta on the board here, besides New England game against Kansas City. You see how that came out. So Cleveland in the dog pound, we take that into account with the algorithm. We take past performances. We take, they don't do well at Pittsburgh, but they do well at home against Pittsburgh. And I think this is an easy money play for you. Even with the, rookie starting at quarterback, I think you have a lot of, right now, controversy in Pittsburgh with Martavis Bryant and Ben Roethlisberger going at it, Le'Veon Bell coming out late and holding out. You got, some situations there. I think Cleveland drafted well. They have some good skill position players. I like this quarterback, and I like the running back situation. Their defense has come a long way. I would take, on this, algorithm says, -4 for Pittsburgh. You got 9.5 for Cleveland. Easy play there. Under, the algorithm says the over and under should be at 49, and you got an over and under on this at 47. I'd probably, if anything, go under that because I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. It always is with these two, it seems like. So, anyway, Cleveland and the under here is, I think, the play. All right, and then we've got Indianapolis at Los Angeles. Los Angeles is -3, and this is because Andrew Luck is not playing today. You got Scott Tolzien in his place. You've got Indianapolis, which has one of the lowest ranked defense on our algorithm. Los Angeles, I like what they're doing there. I like the quarterback situation. I love Todd Gurley today, just running over everybody. And I like McVay's play calling. So this is a easy play, I believe. Algorithm says this game should be -6, so you got a 3-point delta there. The over and under on this is 41. Algorithm says it should be 47 because Indianapolis has absolutely no defense. So you're looking at Los Angeles, an easy play at -3 and the over 41.5 on that game. Seattle and Green Bay, best game of the day. This is going to be the best game of the day. Always is. You got Seattle now at +2.5, so it dropped. It was holding steady at 3. I think a lot of play is coming on Seattle because of their defense. They have a chip on their shoulder. They have the highest ranked defense on our algorithm. Green Bay, on the other hand, has probably one of the lower ranked defenses right now, and they are banged up. I love Aaron Rodgers. The algorithm says that this line should be pick 'em, and you got Seattle +2.5 here. You have an over/under of 50.5, which is right on point because Green Bay is not going to score like they do against most teams against Seattle, and Seattle's happy to run the ball down these teams' throat. So if anything, I would take the under there because the algorithm says it should be at 46. And on the game itself, I think, according to the algorithm being a pick 'em game, I would take, and just because they're so good at home, I love Seattle's defense, but I love Aaron Rodgers at home, and because it's a pick 'em game, I would take the Packers here money line, not the regular line. I think it's going to be a close game. All right, moving on to Carolina and San Francisco. You've got Carolina coming in with an attitude. Cam Newton was hurt last year. They had a bad after Super Bowl run. San Francisco's just a mess right now, but they are doing some things. I like Brian Hoyer in the position. In fact, he's one of the mid-tier rated quarterbacks on our algorithm as far as accuracy. A lot of people don't know this, but he has one of the highest accuracy percentages in the NFL. Carolina, not a great road team and kind of banged up on defense right now. San Francisco's getting 4.5 here. It was at 6. It came out at 6, so you're getting a lot of play on the San Francisco side. Algorithm says Carolina should be -3. So you got a 1.5 differential here. If anything, I would take Carolina in the money line. I think San Francisco plays tough and keeps it close. The over and under 47. I think the algorithm says it should be 44. So you got an underplay here, and I think it's going to be a decent game, better than most people expect. All right. Finally, you have tonight the Dallas Cowboys the Giants at Dallas Cowboys. Now, we're not sure if Odell Beckham's going to play or not yet, and the line is reflective of that. So, Ezekiel Elliott is playing tonight, and that's a big boost for Dallas. This is going to be the only game that he'll play for the next 6 games, though, because he's going to be out of commission on that. Dallas is -4, 4.5 some places. I think you go with the algorithm says Dallas should be -2. I think the Giants win this game head up. I think they have more talent on defense. I think Dak Prescott has a comeback game today to where he actually comes back to a rookie status. I think last year was kind of I think you're going to see a situation where you saw RG3 explode his first year and then come back to reality. Defense has caught up to him. Same way with the Giants. Giants have won there the last 2 times. You got 4 on the road. I mean, I'm even thinking Giants money line here, but at least at +4, +4.5, you can safely go in and feel comfortable with that bet. So, and the over and under on this, it's generally a high-scoring game, so I would take the over. And we're going to come back. These are the games today, and we're going to look at Monday night games, and we're going to do a video on that. But we're going to stop here and say this, that a lot of times when you go to invest, gambling's for idiots, and the more information you have, the more secure you can feel in what you're doing. And hopefully, the information that we've given you here is accurate. This is why we do this video. We want for you to be able to go back on Tuesday or Monday or whatever when you're looking at doing business with Shark Eye Sports, because their information is correct. You can go back and look at our videos. Okay, they predicted this, or the algorithm said this, and they were on point. That's where you make good decisions on your hard-earned money and where you're going to place it. So be well, live well, and prosper, and we hope you have a great game day. Salute from the Iceman. Shark Eye Sports out.